I'm Charlie Dorkey. I came to Pathfinder way back, probably 1927 when I was 6 years old, and I continued up at Pathfinder up until 1938. Transportation was by train. You took the train up from Toronto and switched over at Huntsville and then came on up here. On the opposite shore, well, from the camp, there was a landing and you canoed over or paddled over or were brought over by boat to the island. You would lash 3 canoes together, put planks on them, and unload the luggage and pull them over here.
It's kind of a romantic experience. Trains still are. You would go down to the New York Central Station downtown. Beautiful old station at that time, around 6 o'clock at night, and you get on a what they call the Pullman train, an overnight sleeper train. Of course, I'd never been on a sleeper before, and so it was really, that was sort of the miracle of the whole thing, you know. We caught a train going north, from Toronto up north, and went right through the park. Before you got to Cache Lake, you go past Source Lake. There's nothing at Source Lake, just a wide spot in the tracks. And everybody get off and you kind of scramble down the hill. It was a pretty steep hill. I don't know how it is there now. But and then they had a little dock down at the lake, and they had the boats and canoes and everything there to go over to Peak Camp.
I think the real first memory was riding the train up to camp when I was only 7 or 8. The train trip to camp was just truly mayhem and fun, and it lasted all night long. And then eventually, of course, we arrived in Huntsville and the buses picked us up and took us to the car dock. And I remember thinking, okay, now I'm this far, where's the camp? And so it wasn't until we actually got around the point and could see the island that I was pretty amazed that that's where I was going to spend the next month at least.
'95 was my first year as a first-year Cree.
My first year was in 1969, and I was a first-year Chippewa.
I started here in 1980 when I was 9 years old.
I came to Pathfinder way back, probably 1927.
I was a camper at Pathfinder from 1961 until 67.
I started when I was 11 as a first-year Cree.
I started at Pathfinder in 1988.
When I was 7 years old, I was put on the bus to Pathfinder 3.5 weeks later. At the time of my life, couldn't wait to go back the next summer.
I remember we pulled up on the blue pontoon boat, and we pulled up to the rowboat dock. I thought, oh, that's what a canoe looks like. Those are pretty interesting. We have 6 canoes at Camp Pathfinder.
And I saw the string, and I was, 7 at the time, so I decided to pull it back and forth and rang the bell, which then caused everyone to change periods about a half hour too early, which really caused a lot of chaos on the island, and Lance was very polite about it, but said, please don't ring that again. So that was my first experience on the island.
Our AA trip down to Des Moines, probably to this day, was the best trip that I've ever taken. Terrific staff, great campers, of which, the 6 campers, 5 I still maintain regular contact with.
You can do the same route 100 times, but every trip is different with the different people you go on it with.
There's nowhere else in the world that you get as close to somebody as you do if you're on a canoe trip and you're helping them out through the portages and they're helping you out through whatever.
We had campers from AA down to second year Cree. So it was this mismatch of all these different personalities, all these different people. They're all thrown together on this trip. 13 days going from source all the way down to the end of the Madawaska. And the bond that we created on that trip was just fantastic. The biggest thing was just having that dynamic of all these guys who were willing to do anything for each other for those 13 days, and just this inexplicable bond that you were able to create in such a short period. And it's something you can't understand, you can't really grasp until you're here.
Camp, like everything, has changed, but it hasn't changed. Matter of fact, almost everything looks the same, which is pretty remarkable in this day and age. It's a credit to the people that have run this camp over the past years that they've been able to maintain the integrity that Pathfinder was set up for.